Komárek from Charles University, our teacher and also guru of Portmannism in the Czech Republic, one of the two founders of Portmann's popularity, so enjoy.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for my English, but I'm a member of a generation of Eastern intellectuals with more German or Russian orientation, and I'm the oldest still living Portmannian in Czech Republic, kind of living fossil, an eyewitness of the beginning of Portmannism in Czech lands. I will read parts of my contribution to the Portmann book, prepared from the organizers, and there is a rich literature, the most literature from the Czech lands is in Czech. Czech is our secret language. Nobody understands it, and it can conserve some kinds of thinking in a small local culture, but our culture, and it is in every case English translation over that. First, the University of Prague was in some way predisposed to the acceptance of Portmann's ideas from early times. A similar phenomenon in biology is called pre-adaptation. Fish had four fins long before it turned out that these could evolve into legs after their ascent from water. Its tradition is historically the German universities of Central Europe and of German biology. Essentially, all continental biology outside of Romance countries can be considered German biology, in addition to Germany and its historic territories and other German-speaking countries, they included especially Holland, Bohemia, and the Baltic region, and St. Petersburg in Russia. While most work in biology from this region between the years of 1750 till 1950 was in German. By no means does this necessarily correspond to the native language of the authors, but rather of their affiliation with a single cultural sphere. In the present day, when global knowledge of German is greatly in decline and English has taken on the role of lingua franca, this extensive literature is becoming practically inaccessible and therefore divergent paradigmatic starting points, difficult to understand even in German-speaking countries. It seems that this nearly lost world of ideas will, in a relatively short time, be rediscovered with wonder, similar as was the world of Alexandrian natural science. One can only hope that this will occur before its literary monuments are reduced to ruins, like those of old Alexandria. Thanks to centuries of direct geographical proximity of German and the resulting similarities in semantics, phraseology, and overall similar style of thinking, Czech has been a more viable medium for the translation and interpretation of Portmann's thought than English, in which the art of expressing Portmann's ideas can, with a little exaggeration, be compared to the art of playing Mozart's Eine kleine Nachtmusik on, say, a Turkish drum. Just like the German philosophy, German biology is characterized by an uncommon intricacy of thought and ability to render problems in their full complexity. This property of German thinking makes it a powerful tool for learning about and operating with the world, but it also harbors many dangers arising from the possibility of exaggerating certain intellectual concepts and eventually actions ad absurdum. And this particularity led not only to the great blossoming of German thought in the long 19th century, but also in the unprecedented horrors of the Second World War. Following the war, and the heritage of the past was abandoned across Germany, across German thought, especially in biology, and replaced with Anglophone models considerably more schematic and flat, which certainly hold substantially lower risk of explosive destruction from misuse or mishandling. Working with present ideas is understandably dangerous, akin to throwing bottles of nitroglycerin. Pockets of German thought in biology survived in aftermath of the war, mainly in countries which did not feel responsibility for its instigation. Switzerland, Czechoslovakia, the Netherlands, Estonia. More, therefore, the need to radically abandon their intellectual tradition for those of the victors. At present, such pockets, apart from universities in Prague and Tartu, are in further retreat. There are resonances of Portmann's impact still present in Swiss cantonal identity in Basel, where he spent the majority of his fruitful career. Between the wars, continental Europe saw the formation of so-called German autonomist school, emphasizing the autonomy and spontaneity of living organisms and the autonomous origin of their structures, especially thought the example of animal coloration, which is subject of selection only to a limited degree, and express the so-called inwardness, innerlichkeit of living organisms. To this school belong three scientists who studied the ontogenic and phylogenic development of organisms, especially butterfly patterns. Fritz Schufert, 1891 till 1945, from Freiburg in Breisgau. Karl Henke, 1895 till 1956, working in Göttingen, and Boris Nikolaevich Shvanovich, 1889 till 1957, working in St. Petersburg. After the war, the only one from this group able to continue was Adolf Portmann, 1897 till 1982. It can be said that already in the 20s of the 20th century, pre-Portmannian tendencies were being propagated in the Czech sphere by Professor of Botany Josef Velenovský, 1858 till 1949, who in his book on natural philosophy, 1922, introduced the term principle of ornamentalism for the creative abilities and characteristics of plants and fungi. Due to his unusual character, however, and the subsequent war, the Velenovský ideas didn't see a wider application in the local intellectual environment. The earliest known paper on Portmann delivered in on Czech soil was by Jan Mizejovský, 1911 till 1984, in the context of the ecumenical seminar in the winter semester of the 1963 till 64 academic year. His co-contributors was his brother-in-law Jan Portmann, who would later become a famous theologian at the University of Basel. The ecumenical seminar organized at the Comenius Protestant Theological Faculty in Prague was an important center of spiritual dialogue and contributed to the renewal of intellectual life in the 60s and early 70s. Mizejovský worked as a secretary for the World Council of Churches in Geneva from the years 1948 to 50. Jan Portmann, 1922 till 2004, and Jan Heller, 1925 till 2008, matriculated in theology students in Basel in 1947 when Portmann was rector, and were later examined by him in anthropology. The interest of Protestants in Portmann's anthropology is evidently closely related to his holistic framework and his unwillingness to reduce many to a purely biological dimension. Regarding evolution, Portmann often points out the limited possibilities of the scientific method. Mizejovský returned in 1950 to Czechoslovakia, where he worked as a pastor. He was later followed by Lohmann and Heller. Lohmann returned after 1968 to Basel, where as rector it eventually fell to him to preside over and speak at Portmann's funeral. Portmann's biology had an even greater impact on the Czech sphere. Here, first mention must go to the contribution of the philosopher and psychologist Jiří Němec, 1932 till 2001. One of the key figures of Czech intellectual descent from the 60s to the 80s and of the modern Czech intellectual life in general. Němec, a regular participant of the ecumenical seminar, who noticeable mediated Portmann's ideas for a wider intellectual circle of Czech descent. Additionally, two Czech zoologists studied briefly under Portmann in the 60s. Zdeněk Veselovský, an ethologist and director of the Prague Zoo, for a shorter time, and Leo Sigmund, a vertebrate anatomist and morphologist, for a longer time. Jiří Němec encouraged Zdeněk Neuber and Václav Benda to their translation into Czech of Neue Wege der Biologie, which was released under the title O nové horizonty v biologii, On New Horizons in Biology, in 1979 in a few typewritten copies as a volume 73 on the Dispatch edition, Czech edice expedice under Olga Pavlova, wife of the future president. This samizdat, which came into my hands for one night in 1980, along with the 2-hour lecture from Zdeněk Neubauer, was enough to completely change the trajectory of my life. Zdeněk Neubauer, 1942 till 2016, was undoubtedly the most interesting Czech language philosophical biological thinker of all. He was the son of Zdeněk Neubauer, a law professor at Masaryk University in Brno, and his wife Štěpánka, and brother-in-law to the philosopher and dissident Václav Benda, 1946 till 1999. He was also a close friend of Václav Havel. He studied biology in the Faculty of Natural Science at Charles University, changing his original focus on mycology to microbiology and graduating in 1965. From 1967 till 70, he worked in the famed International Laboratory of Genetics and Biophysics in Naples, where he focused primarily on bacteriophage lambda, a bacterial virus of exceptional theoretical importance. After his return, he completed a degree in philosophy from the Charles University in 1971. At this time, he began publishing works in philosophy and the interface of philosophy and biology, mostly in samizdat or abroad, sometimes under the pseudonym Sidonius. He left the university due to his nonconformist attitudes in 1982 and supported himself as a programmer for this time. In 1990, he founded the Department of Philosophy and History of Science and the Faculty of Science of Charles University, which he led for several years till 1996. From 1991 as associated professor, and from 1992 as ordinary professor, and continued to work after his official retirement. He authored or edited approximately 25 books, and through his lectures and publications deeply influenced an entire Czech intellectual generation. He studied philosophical problems in biology, physics, the epistemological significance of form and formality, and the role of mythic and symbolic motifs in cognition. His other works concern culture, mind and body, consciousness and unconsciousness, religious studies, hermeneutics, and death psychology. Fundamental to the propagation of Portmann ideas in the Czech sphere was the Neuber's comprehensive work summarizing Portmann's opinions on the significance and meaning of the external appearance of living organisms. First printed a compilation by the Czechoslovak Scientific and Technical Society, a hectograph publication somewhere on the border between samizdat and a regular book. Among Neuber's doctor students, Tomáš Daněk, now assistant professor in the Department of Development and Environmental Studies at Palacký University, almost published Portmann King study on the life of bumblebees. The opportunity of confounding the Department of Philosophy and History of Science with Neuber was one of the most significant experiences of my life. Our first discussion in the direction took place on December 6, 1989, during my first visit to Prague after the revolution, and we both saw Portmannian themes as fundamental to the purpose and the direction. The department was formally established in April of 1990, and from the beginning of the winter semester in October 1990 commenced a regular schedule of lectures and Friday seminars. After the revolution, 89, it seems that the newly founded departments would become a center from which Portmannian biology would spread, not across the planet, at least across Central Europe, certainly. While such an idea may seem outlandish today, it certainly did not at the time. The global collapse of communism, with its unimaginable accumulation of power and armaments, lent support to a wide array of expectation, of which the decline or demise of neo-Darwinism and the Dawkinsian Wilsonian type was a relatively sober and marginal example. If a bear can be brought down, surely a squirrel can be caught. Amidst the overall end of an era atmosphere and the contemporary slogans about the victory of truth and love over lies and hatred, a new beginning was expected in everything, as it were across Europe and perhaps even the world. While in the first years Portmannian biology aroused exceptional interest among a wide array of students and was for a number of years a widespread and well-known alternative locally, with the connection of society to informational post-industrial Western society, it has been relegated to a margin and historicist position. The author of this contribution, mine, born 1958, studied in zoology at Charles University, 1977 till 1982, exiled in Austria, 1983 till 1990. Natural History Museum, Ministry of Agriculture, Zoological Institute of the University of Vienna. Following his return to the Faculty of Natural Science in 1990, Associate Professor 1993, Professor 2001, has worked on biological mimicry, domestication, nature, culture, relationship, and human ethology, as well as the Portmannian topics of the inwardness and proper phenomenon of living organisms and the interpretation of their external appearance. He was regularly been acquainting students with Portmann's view of natural aesthetics and biological anthropology in the lectures since the winter semester of 1990 till 91 academic year, and has directed several bachelor's and master's thesis and doctoral dissertation on this topic. If you want to have my books in English, three are published and now available on my internet pages. One book is about the history of mimicry and autosomism research. Second one is a bibliography of mimicry phenomena till 1800 till 1990, and the third with the name Nature and Culture is about the relationship between cultural and natural phenomena. Practically all Czech Portmannists are my present or past doctor students. The first mention goes to Karel Skibral, originally studied aesthetics, born in 1971, PhD 2000, from 2011, associate professor in the Department of Environmental Science at Masaryk University in Brno. He discusses the question of natural aesthetics, primarily of a Darwinian perspective, but also including Adolf Portmann. In two of his books, one a lengthy essay, Project Příroda krásná, Why is Nature Beautiful, Darwin Aesthetica, Darwin Aesthetics, and Darwin o kráse, Darwin on Beauty. Another eminent expert of Portmannian themes in a broad sense is Karl Reisner. He is not here at present. Originally studied biology, from 2015 associated professor in the Department of Philosophy and History of Science in Prague. Among other things, he has edited a collection of Portmannian themes, biologie ve službách zjevu, k teoreticko-biologickým myšlenkám Adolfa Portmann and biology in the service of appearance on the theoretic biology ideas of Adolf Portmann. His co-worker, Timo Maran, born in 1973, is currently head of the Department of Semiotics, University of Tartu, Estonia, and expert in biosemiotics, particularly mimetic phenomena in nature. He works closely with the Department of Philosophy and History of Science in Prague. Another of the author's notable students is Filip Jaroš, born 1982, PhD 2012, originally studied mathematics from 2013, assistant professor at the Department of Philosophy and Social Sciences, University of Hradec, Králové. In collaboration with his colleagues, he published the edited volume Krása a zvíře, studie o vztahu estetických a etických hodnot zvíře, beauty and the beast, essays on aesthetics and ethical values of animals, in which appears his essay on aesthetics and functional morphological aspects of coloration in wild cats, deriving on his dissertation. He has worked closely with another of the author's graduate students, Ivana Vajdová, born 1985, who in his dissertation in progress is working on a comparison of Jung and Portmann's theoretical concepts. Last but not least, my PhD student Roman Figura, whose dissertation in progress is devoted to a formal analysis of bird coloration based on Portmannian foundation. So, thank you for your attention, and if questions.
Thank you very much.
Do you think there is a strong connection between theology and theoretical biology as such, and what is the position of Portmann in this problem?
It is a complicated question. I think it is some connection, but for the theology, not only Catholic but the Protestant too, is more or less till present days scientia ancilla theologiae as in Middle Ages, but the wide interest of the Protestant theologians in Basel can mean that it is some connection here.
Something else? So, okay. Thank you very much.